Today we're talking about a manual, not a theoretical one, not a historical one, but a playbook that, according to a United States Senator, is being actively executed right now in this country against American democracy. Last October, Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon stood on the Senate floor and spoke for over 22 hours. It was the third longest speech in Senate history. He called it an effort to ring the alarm bells. About what? About what he terms an aggressive authoritarian takeover. And he didn't just give a speech. He wrote a booklet titled Ring the Alarm Bells, the 10 Rules of Trump's Authoritarian Playbook. In it, he argues that modern democracies rarely fall to sudden coups. Instead, they are eroded, piece by piece, by elected officials who methodically dismantle the guardrails. His central warning is stark. Authoritarianism isn't down the street or around the corner. It is here right now. So today, we're going to walk through this framework. What are these 10 rules? How do they manifest? And what does it mean when someone in the halls of power says they are seeing them used, not in a distant dictatorship, but here? Let's start with the foundation. Merkley argues we now have all 3 ingredients for what he calls a strongman state. First, a rubber stamp Congress. Second, a Supreme Court that he says is finding invisible ink in the Constitution to expand presidential power. And third, a president eager to act like a king, breaking norms and laws to consolidate control. The playbook, drawn from patterns seen in places like Hungary, Turkey, and Venezuela, has 10 steps. And they begin not with grand gestures, but with subtle, bureaucratic moves. Rule 1 is to fire the referees. Think about the independent watchdogs, the inspectors general across federal agencies, the career prosecutors at the Justice Department. Their job is to call fouls, to find waste, fraud, and abuse. The playbook says, remove them, replace them with loyalists, or leave positions vacant. The result? A government that is less transparent, less accountable, and where misconduct can flourish unchecked. The booklet details the firing of dozens of these referees, undermining a basic check on executive power. This leads directly to Rule 2, pack the government with loyalists. The Senate's advice and consent role is meant to be a quality check, but when it becomes a rubber stamp, qualification is replaced by loyalty. The report points to nominees confirmed despite, it argues, glaring lacks in experience or troubling backgrounds. A Secretary of Defense with no experience running a large organization, a Director of National Intelligence with no intelligence background. The goal isn't competent governance, it's compliant governance. With loyalists in place and referees gone, the next phase begins, defining the battlefield. Rule 3, demonize the enemy within. Authoritarian systems need a scapegoat, a group labeled as the internal threat. Historically, this has targeted minorities, immigrants, political opponents. The strategy is to divide us from them, justifying the use of state power against the them. The report cites rhetoric and policies targeting immigrants and minorities, and actions like purging government websites of diversity resources as part of this classic play. Once an enemy is defined, Rule 4 becomes possible. Disregard due process. Due process is the bedrock that protects everyone from arbitrary state power. But the report alleges a pattern of bypassing it, of masked agents making arrests, of people being detained or even deported without access to lawyers, sometimes even U.S. citizens. The principle that you have a right to defend yourself in court is set aside in the name of combating the declared enemy. And you cannot have people freely discussing this. So, Rule 5. Silence free speech. This isn't always a blunt censorship law. It can be the strategic revocation of visas for students who protest. It can be using the leverage of government regulation, like merger approvals or broadcast licenses, to pressure media companies into settling lawsuits or changing coverage. It can be defunding public broadcasting. The goal is to create a chilling effect where critics self-censor out of fear of retribution. These rules attack the pillars of civil society. The next set of rules attack the pillars of the state itself. Rule 6. Steal Congress's power of the purse. The Constitution is clear. Congress controls spending, but the executive can slowly strangle programs it dislikes by impounding funds, freezing grants, or simply refusing to spend money. Congress appropriated. The report describes this as a fundamental shift from a republic where representatives fund national needs to an authoritarian model where the president alone rewards allies and punishes opponents through the budget. Rule 7. Abuse government services. Everyday government functions, security clearances, permits, research grants, are turned into weapons. Withhold a security clearance from a law firm to deter it from taking on certain cases. Threaten a university's research funding to influence what it teaches or how it handles dissent. Use public resources for political propaganda. These are the tools of a patronage state where compliance is bought and dissent becomes financially untenable. And perhaps most dangerously, Rule 8. Weaponize the justice system. When the Supreme Court suggests a president may be immune for official acts, and that power is combined with the pardon authority, you create a system where loyalists are protected and enemies are pursued. The booklet alleges the use of the Justice Department to prosecute former officials, state attorneys general, and political opponents, while pardoning those connected to political violence or with personal ties. Law ceases to be blind. It becomes a tool of faction. This brings us to the most overt and terrifying rules. Rule 9. Use the military to suppress dissent. There are laws, like the Insurrection Act, that allow a president to deploy troops domestically under extreme circumstances. The report notes discussion of using this power not for rebellion, but for crime and protest control, framing civil unrest as an enemy from within and suggesting American cities could be training grounds. The foundational fear of the founders, a standing army turned against the people, is activated. All of this builds toward one goal. Rule 10. Rig the next election. This is the linchpin. If you can entrench your power through a rigged election, the transformation can be made permanent under a veneer of legitimacy. The tactics outlined include nationalizing and manipulating voter files, aggressive partisan gerrymandering, and making voting itself harder, especially by mail, to allow for election day manipulation of turnout in key areas. It's about structuring the system so that the outcome is predetermined. So, what do we do with this analysis? Is this just partisan fear-mongering, or a legitimate diagnosis of systemic erosion? Senator Merkley is clear. He believes this playbook is being followed aggressively, and his conclusion is that understanding it is only the first step. The second is action. He argues there are two powerful ways to stop the entrenchment of authoritarianism. First, robust, peaceful citizen action. Second, an unmistakable rejection of it at the ballot box. He offers 3 simple suggestions. First, get off the couch. Engagement is not optional. Second, fiercely hold your elected representatives accountable. Demand they defend the institutions, not a party or a person. And third, join affinity groups. Because, as he writes, being angry and frustrated alone is depressing and discouraging, but being angry and organized is energizing and effective. The central plea of the booklet is that no action is too small, and there is no time to waste. This isn't about one election cycle. It's about defending the core mechanics of a republic: checks and balances, a free press, an independent judiciary, and free and fair elections. The question this report forces us to ask is not just about one administration. It's a question about patterns. When you see similar tactics appear across different countries, leading to similar erosions of democracy, do you dismiss them as politics as usual? Or do you see a playbook? And if you see a playbook, do you have an obligation to ring the alarm bells? Thank you for watching.